There are some big name free agents for running backs in the offseason. We're going to break them all down for you on the show. Who are some people that might change some teams? Who's going to re-sign? What an offseason we have ahead of us. No time to waste. Let's get straight to it.
Welcome to the Fantasyland Football Podcast.
Heyo. Welcome into the show. It is Thursday, the 14th of Feb. My name's Zach. That's Badaki. Badaki, are you on the... Sorry, this is random. Are you on Stock TikTok? Do you follow stocks on TikTok by chance?
No, not at all. I'm not really a big stocks person, to be honest. It's actually, it's a scary place for me. I'll be honest. It's
this is a safe place, Bo. Go ahead. This is a safe place. Let it all out.
And no, it's just it honestly is a scary place because I really don't understand it. I know a lot of people that have lost thousands and millions of dollars in stocks.
For sure.
Not millions, definitely thousands.
I was like, dang, you know some pretty cool people.
definitely thousands. And, you know, I think you really need to understand it fully before, at least for me, I would like to understand it fully before I even dabble in it or spend $1 into stocks. Yeah. But it's an interesting thing.
Yeah, the only reason I talk about that is because we were about to record the show. I was on TikTok scrolling through, and almost every other video was a stock TikTok talking about stocks, who I should invest into, how to make $1 million in 3 days. I feel like everyone is kind of making those videos right now on TikTok. Maybe we should get into that little, maybe there's some money there that people are making. I don't know. Anyway. Hopefully, you guys, no one got screwed over by GameStop or AMC. Hopefully, you were part of the revolution, as we've heard Reddit has called it, I guess. But, all right, we got a good show. Let's talk about some news to open up.
What is going on here?
All right, what is going on in the National Football League? This is your need to know news. Kenny Golladay, Badaki. This is obviously going to be annoying because we were just about to talk about free agent wide receivers next week. But he's expected to sign a franchise tag with the Lions. Do you expect that to be the case?
According to reports, yes, I do expect it to be the case.
Fair enough.
One thing I am concerned about is his fantasy output. You know, I think he's going to fall. Obviously, Matthew Stafford, not Sam Darnold. Matthew Stafford is no longer there, and now it's Jared Goff. We all know how Jared Goff is. Obviously, he's made Cooper Kupp and Roberto Woods kind of something, but Kenny G for me is no longer something exciting to look forward to as a fantasy wide receiver.
Yeah.
Roberto Woods, come on, baby.
Roberto Woods.
Oh, it's been a long time.
Look, I know. I as soon as I heard the name, I thought I can't not do it. Shout out to Robbie Bobby Trees. Okay, Drew Lock. Reports were coming out that they had to dumb down the playbook for him. Now reports are coming out the Broncos are going to stick with him unless a high caliber quarterback like Watson or Wilson are available. Not really the reports you want to come out right before you commit to your quarterback, saying you had to dumb down the playbook for him. But it looks like this is probably the most likely scenario for Denver this year, right?
Yeah, look, I think that make a push, get Deshaun Watson on your team, and then get rid of Drew Lock. I think that's probably their best scenario. I don't think Russell Wilson is going to leave it anytime soon. No. Watson, obviously, we all know that he wants out of Houston. Get him, pick him up. Say, do something special. Huh?
I know. Something special. John Elway's there. I think one thing that people need to know about this Russell Wilson situation is it is almost impossible for the Seahawks to win if they trade him. The amount of the cap hit that they will take because of his contract, the way it's structured, I just don't see that happening. I think Wilson 99% stays in Seattle. Last thing on Need to Know News, which is somewhat surprising, is there are multiple teams who have Zach Wilson higher on their big board than Trevor Lawrence. And we have an exclusive on the show today. We recorded a interview with those people asking to hear their scouting report on Trevor Lawrence, and this is what we got.
His hair, whack. His gear, whack. The way that he talks, whack. The way that he doesn't even like to smile, whack.
Whack. Honestly, look, anything could happen with these quarterbacks. But if your team has hired people to scout, this is their job technically, but how is Trevor Lawrence not number one on the big board everywhere?
Look, we've spoke about this multiple times in multiple podcasts. Maybe I wasn't as clear in earlier podcasts. I personally do not believe, and I can go into depth, not here, not now. I personally do not believe Trevor Lawrence is the best quarterback coming out of this draft. Once again, I can tell you a lot of multiple reasons of why. Maybe I could hypotheticals. Not that I'm saying this is the reason. Hypothetical. He's not as athletic. Okay, he's not as accurate. He's not as he doesn't have great vision. He can't read the field. I'm not saying that's what I believe, but as an example, I believe if you were to put some of those things par to par with other players, I think other players will excel a little bit better. I think he has a size. He has, some accolades. He won a couple games or whatever the case may be. I think that there are other prospects better than him.
Okay, fair enough. And I think that maybe there's another podcast coming up where we can discuss that a little bit more in detail. Mm-hmm. It's interesting, but anything can happen. Ryan Leaf was taken number 1 overall once, and that didn't work out. So, this offseason.
Just imagine though, imagine what everyone was saying about Ryan Leaf at the time and where he's at now. I'm not saying I want this to happen to Trevor Lawrence. I'm saying Trevor Lawrence could be a Ryan Leaf. Trevor Lawrence could be somebody like that.
That's why they are prospects and not pros just yet. So anything could happen. I still think Trevor Lawrence is the number 1 prospect in the draft. But that being said, this offseason is wild. Anything can happen. Mm-hmm. The easiest way for you to keep up with all things fantasy football is to follow us on our social media accounts. And there is one link that will take you directly to everything we do as Fantasyland Football. And that link is solo.to/fantasylandfootball. Again, solo.to/fantasylandfootball. Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, community pages, watching us on YouTube. Anything you could imagine Fantasyland football wise is there. Best way to keep up with anything NFL related. Okay, we are going to be talking about this year's free agent class running backs, 2021 free agent frenzy. Mm-hmm. A lot of running backs looking to get that money, looking to get paid.
Tell them to bring me my money.
And we've got the first guy we're talking about. Who is the first guy we're talking about today?
Yeah, first guy we got is Aaron Jones. And I really just have one question for you. Will Aaron Jones be in Green Bay in 2021?
No. No, Aaron Jones will not be in Green Bay in 2021. And I'm sorry to all the Packer fans out there, because I think almost every Packer fan would agree Aaron Jones is a very talented player.
Right.
But I'm sorry, Aaron Jones will be in a new uniform in 2021. He will not be a Green Bay Packer. Look, there was belief before the year. The Packers and Jones were on the same page. Jones was a priority to the Packers. Nothing happened. They re-signed other guys, but they didn't show Aaron Jones was a priority to them.
Right.
Eventually, you and I talked about this. What did Aaron Jones do when he didn't get what he wanted? Rightfully so, right? Rightfully so.
Right.
Fired his agent. And I think we can both agree that Aaron Jones wants to get paid this offseason. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's genuinely nothing wrong with Aaron Jones wanting to be paid. But here's the situation, and here's how I see it, okay?
Okay.
Aaron Jones wants money. What do the Packers not have? Go ahead.
Money.
Money. Okay. The Packers are projected to be $28 million over the salary cap this all season. That's bad. And if you want to know the real reason why Aaron Jones will never be a Packer again, they don't have the facilities to sign him.
I don't think you have the facilities for that, big man.
In all seriousness, there is just not enough money with the other players they need to re-sign to
Right.
keep Aaron Jones on the Green Bay Packers. Okay? A.J. Dillon, I don't think that draft choice in the second round last year, I don't think that was a mistake. I think they knew what they were doing when they drafted him.
Yeah, clearly.
Clearly. Also, one thing that we do need to keep in mind as well is while they re-signed the best left tackle in the league,
Right.
David Bakhtiari, they also have PFF's top-rated center, Corey Lindsey, who is a free agent as well this year. And I think that is probably more of a priority for them over Aaron Jones, unfortunately.
Correct.
In my opinion, I just don't see a scenario where Aaron Jones is coming back. How much money is Dalvin Cook and Kamara making right now? What is the average they're making? Because that's probably what he's going to be after.
Yeah, I think they're around, 12 to 16 million, something like that, a year?
Okay.
Yeah, I think, and you're right, you kind of have to base it off of those guys, Cook, Kamara, Henry, CMC. They kind of all set that market. And Aaron Jones is looking for that type of money right now. I think it's pretty crucial that, a player like him, with his accolades, with his success, he wants that paycheck. And it's actually a really bad year for anyone to get paid.
You're right. And it is a bad year. Obviously, we have said this on the podcast, but the league lost billions of dollars. That's with a B. Billions of dollars this year because of COVID and things didn't go the way they wanted to. No fans were in the stands, which means the salary cap will obviously be affected by that.
Right.
However, can we blame Aaron Jones for wanting to get paid?
No. I don't
Right?
think so.
I mean, these are the other players that are talented like me. I think Aaron Jones is a top 5, top 10 talent running back wise in the league. We can't blame him for wanting to get his money.
Yeah.
And if you're a Packers fan, I don't think when he inevitably leaves the Packers, I don't think there should be any sort of ill will towards him, right?
No, and you're right. They have to prioritize all these other guys. Corey Lindsey is, like you said, the top-rated center. He needs to be signed. It's crucial. I think no matter who they bring in the backfield in the future, with AJ Dillon, even if it's just AJ Dillon and they bring nobody else, obviously they'll have to sign some other people. But if AJ Dillon's leading there and Corey Lindsey's no longer there, that's a huge hit for that offensive line, for sure.
Definitely.
It has
I think
to
the
happen.
reality is you have one player signed on a rookie deal contract, AJ Dillon, but you don't have a center that you can rely on. You can't pick offensive linemen. It's really hard to find those that you can rely on. But look, we both agree Aaron Jones is talented. If you listen to the podcast throughout last year through the season, you know how frustrated I was on almost a weekly basis at how Aaron Jones was being used.
Yeah.
In 2019, puts up 19 touchdowns, right? Was an absolute fantasy god. In 2020, unfortunately, he didn't really have the usage that we expected him to get, but he still put up 11 touchdowns. I think he still exceeded expectations that people had for him, Badaki.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think he was doing his thing. And Aaron Jones, fantasy-wise, is a key part for your team and just as a, as a player in general, he's vital. Yeah. But I think it's pretty crucial. Like 35 less rushing attempts this year, but rush for more yards. I think that's pretty big, and I think that's kind of what you've been talking about. Yeah. You know, you stressed this since early in the year, how the Packers took away the usage of Aaron Jones, or stop utilizing Aaron Jones, so they don't have to pay him a big contract. Because if he would have had all the opportunity with with all these touchdowns and all these yardage, how could they not sign a guy like this? Like, you're dumb for not signing Aaron Jones.
And that's the reality. Free Aaron Jones. Allow him to go to a place that, one, has the money, has the facilities for that. So in this scenario, he's not returning to Green Bay.
Right.
So let's talk about some potential landing spots for Aaron Jones, with a very, very talented running back. First spot that we thought of that I think we both like is Miami Dolphins.
Yeah.
And I think at first when you hear that, maybe people will be a little thrown off, but I understand that. But because before I looked at the Dolphins as a real potential landing spot, I kind of felt the same way. Mm-hmm. I think maybe Myles Gaskin is a reason people feel that way. But why should they not feel that way? Don't worry. I know Myles Gaskin is there, but this is why this makes sense.
Yeah, it definitely does make sense. Myles Gaskin, in turn, will be Jamal Williams. You know, like, look at it in what we know. Aaron Jones comes in. He's the number one guy. An amazing complimentary back in Myles Gaskin. He's continued to open up the field. We love this potential spot for Aaron Jones. But let's be honest, like, they're projected $32 million under that cap.
Yeah, lots of money. Lots of money to work with.
There's an extreme amount of money to work with. You know, the Dolphins, they have a young quarterback in Tua. You know, they can invest in offensive linemen or in the draft, I guess, and you can call that an investment. Obviously, you are investing when you pick somebody. They can get weapons like a Chase Young, or not Chase Young. Imagine a weapon. That is a weapon, though.
Put him on the offense. Might as well put him in the wide. Put him in the slot. Yeah. Let's see what happens with old Chase.
A Jamar Chase, a Devonta Smith.
Yeah.
It's a great opportunity, I believe, for Aaron Jones to go to the Miami Dolphins.
100%. I can imagine, obviously, hey, they have the ability to have a lot of flexibility this offseason. Maybe they use Houston's number 3 overall pick for a weapon, like you said. And maybe their second pick, they have 2 picks in the first round they use on the offensive line. Then you add Aaron Jones into this offense with another young weapon, with Tua, with Myles Gaskin, Mike Gesicki. It could be a great scenario. Second team that we have in mind that could be a fit is the New York Jets. Look, this is pretty simple. The Jets are going to be they're going to be a team that we talk about a lot in this podcast for running backs that could potentially land with them. The reality is they have a lot of money. They got a lot of money. And the talk has always been, can we take pressure off of Sam Darnold? Maybe they draft a wide receiver, get offensive line help in the offseason. But one thing you and I have been talking about quite a lot as of recently is when you hear the New York Jets, there is a stigma.
Yeah.
Maybe fair, maybe not. But I don't think we can view the Jets the same anymore as we did last year or the year before, right? We have to start thinking about them differently.
Yeah, we have to. It's hard. It's hard to get that stigma out of your head and to really be like, the Jets is a new team. The Jets, they are a new team. You're right. You said it. They are a new team, and they have a new head coach. This new head coach is going to be implementing a lot of, new foundations to this team. He's going to bring a lot of new players. And Aaron Jones can fit. Aaron Jones can definitely be a help here. And I think there's a scenario here that we both like. Okay. Obviously, like we said, the Jets have $67 million in cap space.
They got money.
Yeah, they have money. There's reports that Sam Darnold is going to stay, but if he does stay, this is the scenario that Sam Darnold stays in New York, okay? They draft a rookie wide receiver like a Jamar Chase, like a Devonta Smith, right? They do have a second pick as well.
Yep. Because of that Seahawks trade.
Yeah, exactly. And they can get an offense line. They probably can't get Penei Sewell. I believe he's going to go in the first five.
Well, maybe they take Penei Sewell in the first 5, and then they take a wide receiver later on.
Yeah.
It's a very similar scenario to the Dolphins, but maybe the Dolphins are a better fit for Jones right now.
Yeah. So I think this is great, and obviously their offensive line is decent, and it's going to get better, and it's going to get better throughout the years. Like I said, it's all about this new head coach and what foundations he's going to set. Aaron Jones is going to come in and be something special here.
Yeah, agreed. All right, last team that could be a fit for Aaron Jones, and we're going to go through the third teams pretty quickly. That's the Cardinals. They got $13 million in cap space. Not a lot, but they could, if they do believe they are a great team, sign a guy like Jones. He could be that missing piece.
Yeah.
He's obviously, imagine Kyler, D-Hop, Aaron Jones. I feel like that's a great triple threat. But I think the one downside here is, will Jones really be able to be unleashed in this offense with the way that Kyler moves, the way he runs the ball? Okay, that is a potential fit. I think we all can agree, you and I, I'd say all of us, just us, could agree the Dolphins are our favorite fit for him as of right now.
Correct.
Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. So with that being said, fantasy perspective, doesn't matter where he goes. He's going to be a fantasy monster next year.
Yeah.
Most likely. So, if I'm honest with you, him leaving the Packers might be the best thing for fantasy. Right?
Yeah, it's hard.
A team is going to pay him big money. A team's going to pay him big money. I don't know. I mean, they're going to have to utilize him when they pay him big money. That's money signs for me in fantasy.
Yeah, I mean, when I say, I believe so. When I say I like the Packers, I like the Aaron Jones, being a Packer. He looks good. He looks good in the colors and on that cheese head, yellow and that green. But I think he will excel no matter where he goes, and it's exciting to see where he is going to go.
Agreed. All right, speaking of the Cardinals, our last fit for him, Kenyan Drake is obviously a free agent out of Arizona. Mm-hmm. Will Kenyan Drake be in Arizona in 2021, Badaki?
I don't think so. I don't think so either. My personal opinion. Obviously, his current situation right now, he was traded from Miami to Arizona in 2019, or to Arizona from Miami in 2019. Played 8 games in Arizona. He did all right in that year. He kind of popped off, I believe. Signed a 1-year tender with Arizona 2020. Struggled a little bit, obviously, when he first came in, and injuries and Chase Edmonds came out of nowhere, excelled, did something special. But look, I don't think Kenyan Drake can be on this team.
Okay.
Thoughts?
I don't know. I think my one argument is where does Kenyan Drake go? Because when I look at a Kenyan Drake, I think to myself, if I'm a GM, how much of an impact can he really make on my team? He's not an Aaron Jones type talent. He's not a top 5, top 10 type talent, in my opinion. So when I think of GMs evaluating him this offseason, how much can he really impact my team?
I guess
I think the Cardinals make sense because he already has those relationships. But I get it. I mean, and literally anything could happen this offseason. I just don't know that he carries the value of a top player this offseason.
Right. Okay. So I guess the way I see it is definitely fantasy perspective. Because obviously we're a fantasy football podcast and we love to give fantasy advice.
That's true.
He was a first round pick in most leagues. He went in the first round. We cannot forget that. He was very talented. He did a lot of things. Obviously, he let a lot of people down this year. Yeah. But he bounced back.
That's what I was about to say. Can I be honest with you? Anyone who drafted him is not going to be able to forget that they did that.
Yeah. He definitely bounced back this year, but it was a what's the word? I don't want to say comfortable finish. He just passed the mark of like
cozy. Maybe cozy.
Exactly. A cozy finish. He was like, "Oh, Kenyan Drake, we get it. It's okay. You finished right here. when like the expectation was supposed to be really high, you know?
Yeah.
But look, potential landing spots for me, and the one that I like a lot is the Jets.
Okay.
Okay. Once again, we know the Jets have a lot of money. We know that they're going to spend all this money. And my thought process, once again, scenario, they go get offensive linemen. They're really going to splurge on money. Okay. I'm thinking highly crazy scenario. Allen Robinson, maybe. Maybe they sign a Juju. You know, maybe they sign a Curtis Samuel. He doesn't really do anything for you. But obviously they get a Jamar Chase. They get a Devonta Smith. They get an offensive lineman. Yeah. You know, Kenyan Drake can come in to a 1 or 2 year deal and just sit in the back and just say, you know what, I can contribute somehow. First year is going to be rough for the Jets, I believe, still. But I think Kenyan Drake can contribute somewhat there.
Yeah. Okay. I can see that happening. I think the best way to say it is if he doesn't land with the Cardinals, the Jets might be his only other option. And look, I know that there are other options. But, I mean, let's look at the teams who could use a running back. The Steelers, Seahawks, Jets, yes. Falcons, Bucks, I don't know. I mean, Bills, no. I just don't see a perfect landing spot for him. Maybe there's not a massive market for Kenyan Drake. Right. Maybe he doesn't have the leverage. I could be wrong. But maybe he doesn't have the leverage that some people think he does.
Look, I agree with you, and I think maybe I have to rethink. You know, does Kenyan Drake stay with the Cardinals? Maybe he does. There is a scenario that he could stay. You know, there is a scenario that he's not worth much. You know, maybe they can sign him to another 1 year deal. Do some. You know, they don't have to spend too much money on him. You know, they're pretty comfortable. Like you said, they're pretty comfortable. They have D-Hop, K1. They're going to do it. And Kenyan Drake still can contribute. They'll just need they need something else, I believe. And I don't think Kenyan Drake is that something else. Yeah,
and I get where you're coming from there. I can't argue with that. I think Kenyan Drake's a good running back. I don't think he's a great running back. In terms of fantasy impact, though, wherever Drake lands, let's say it's the Jets, let's say it's the Cardinals, for example, I see him similar to how David Montgomery was drafted in last year's fantasy drafts.
Okay.
Kind of in that 5th, 6th round. People are a little bit skeptical because the name hurt them so much last year. But he could make a great impact on a team. He could be a low risk, high reward type scenario in drafts next year.
Yeah, I definitely get that feeling. It's crazy. He was going in the first round, and you're projecting that he's dropped 4 to 5 rounds. That's a lot of rounds. I'm not saying that he's still worth the first round. I personally didn't believe he was worth the first last year's draft.
Yeah,
but yeah, I agree with you. 5 to 6. A Monty kind of number. Yeah, I think Monty kind of shoots up, obviously, after his great year. He finished the year off well.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Next guy on the list, we are talking Chris Carson out of Seattle. Chris Carson, what a story, going from a 7th round draft pick now to a homegrown name pretty much. I don't think you could go anywhere in Seattle and find a person who doesn't know Chris Carson. My question, though, is that marriage over? Is there a moving on period? Will Chris Carson be in Seattle in 2021? I don't know. Do you think so?
I don't think so either. I think we heard of reports that if Chris Carson doesn't get a deal over $8 million, he's not going to sign with the Seahawks, and he's not looking for anything under $8 million.
Yeah.
So that clearly means that he's no longer going to be with the Seattle Seahawks. I think it's easy for him to sign with the Seattle Seahawks. The Seahawks can sign him and be like, all right, Chris, we're going to give you 1 more year, blah, blah, blah. But nah, I really don't believe it. I don't see it. It's hard. It's hard for Chris. He's talented.
Yeah. And I think obviously Seahawks fans will be asking, well, what's the problem? Why can't we bring him back? Well, the problem is money again,
Yeah.
right? I mean, the Seahawks don't have as bad of a cap situation as the Packers do, but they only have around $400,000 in cap right now. That's not enough to sign a guy to an $8 million contract per year.
No.
And this Seahawks team as well has a lot of free agents that are starters on their team on the offense and on the defense. There's at least 8 crucial members to their team that are free agents.
Right.
I'm interested to see how are they going to make that room. But look, Chris did have a great season. We have to recognize he did have a really good season, regardless of what the numbers say. And let me explain, okay? In 2019, Chris Carson was averaging just under 19 rushing attempts per game.
Right.
That means in all the games he played in 2019, he almost averaged 19 rushing attempts a game. This last year in 2020, Chris Carson averaged under 12 rushing attempts a game.
Oh.
Just at 11.7 rushing attempts per game.
Right.
That number baffles me to think that he did not average more than 12 rushing attempts per game. When you actually look at the stats and you break them down, he had 137 less rushing attempts than he did in 2019.
Right.
Now, to be fair, he did miss 4 games, but he still put up 9 touchdowns. This is still a guy who can be very productive for a football team. 137 less attempts, still put up 9 touchdowns. I guess the question for people in free agency is Chris Carson's durability going to be a problem going forward? He has had a lot of injuries in his history, in his career. Is that something that teams should be worried about going forward? Is his injury history?
Absolutely. I mean, as a fantasy owner, you're hesitant in drafting Chris Carson, and we're just playing a game. These guys are doing business with millions of dollars. Of course, that's something that these guys are going to be talking about. So I think that there is a lot of question marks with Chris Carson and if he's going to be durable. You're right.
Yeah.
It's in my personal opinion, I still believe there's some juice in the tank. He's still young.
Yeah.
He's 26 years old. There's a lot of talent there. I think you also have to take into account regarding the attempts. He has one of the most talented quarterbacks in the league in Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
And obviously the whole campaign will let Russ cook. Everyone wanted him to throw the ball.
Yeah.
We have to take that into account. So I believe that
For sure.
those attempts, that is a big factor. I see that in, his workload. Why wasn't that happening? But Russ was cooking and he was doing his thing. He was breaking records.
He was. But I mean, that team second half of the year compared to the first half was not a team that looked like a playoff, a playoff team. Yes, but not a team that was close to capable of making a Super Bowl the way that they looked personally. And I think maybe obviously Chris Carson has never been as good as Todd Gurley in Todd Gurley's prime.
Okay.
And I hate to keep bringing up Todd Gurley when we talk about injuries, but that is something that you have to compare or keep in mind as a GM. Well, remember when he was the best running back in the league, Todd Gurley, and they signed him to a big contract? That was one of the worst moves for the Rams. Anyway, Seahawks, I'm not sure it happens because of that salary cap. So if he does not land with the Seahawks, and if he's not willing to take a big contract or a big cut, discount, if you will, with the Seahawks, who are some other teams that potentially make sense for Chris Carson this year?
Once again, the Jets, a lot of money. We said that the Jets
got money.
The Jets are going to be a huge X factor, or not X factor, but a huge talk in this podcast. I think if you, once again, a lot of different scenarios, but the other team is the Atlanta Falcons. Okay, they are a great spot for running backs in the league this year. For running backs to fall in the league this year, they're in need of a starter. Okay, And I think Chris Carson can help them really open up the game. Obviously, you have, imagine, Matt Ryan, Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley, Chris Carson, Hayden Hurst. Man, that's a lot of good people there. Obviously,
Yeah.
their offensive line is not the best, and I know that's probably one thing that you probably want to bring up. That offensive line is a problem, but
I'm just trying to think, like, do I like that fit? And I want you to convince me. I want you to make me leave this podcast and say, yeah, I actually like that fit. You're right.
look,
Because I'm open to it.
no, I hear you, and we get it. Todd Gurley didn't do so well, and he was helping people win games in fantasy, scoring a 1 yard touchdown, 2 yard touchdowns.
He had an immense ability to fall into the end zone. It was beautiful, actually.
Correct. So I mean, look, I think they will utilize Chris Carson a lot more in the passing game, just like they wanted to utilize Todd Gurley. But obviously his knees and his arthritis doesn't help him do that. I think
Arms are heavy.
the best way I can sell this to you, really, is plain and simple, is just list out the name of people what's going to happen. Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley, Matt Ryan, Hayden Hurst, Chris Carson. They got a new head coach. I think his name's what? I forgot. I think it's Arthur Smith. Or is that the owner's name? That's the owner's name.
The owner said, you know what? No one else can get it done. Put me in. I'm going to give it a go.
Arthur Smith is the owner's name. But look, Arthur Smith hired a new head coach. I don't remember his name at the moment. I believe that this guy, once again, just like any new head coach does, is going to implement new foundations. And he's going to bring in a new offensive line coach. Say that again?
Okay, wait. What's wrong with me? Because I'm reading an article on the Falcons website. It's official. Falcons name Arthur Smith head coach.
Yeah. See, I told you. I knew it. I was confused.
Why do I feel like that's the owner's name is Arthur Blank? That's where my mind was going.
See? Anyways.
Okay, right.
Look,
okay, I'm going to close my eyes and I'm going to imagine this offense together as you talk. Go ahead.
You're going to imagine everyone there. Arthur Smith bringing a new offensive coach. If he does, set the line. This line's going to be better. Let's be honest. This line's going to be better. You see, imagine Matt Ryan on the 20 yard. You know, the first quarter, first play, hands off ball, Chris Carson. Wow, great run, 7 yards. Wow, look at that offensive line. You know, next play, another run, 3 yards, first down. Shout out to Chris Carson. If you play PPR, that's 1 point already.
Carson. No, I don't hate the fit. And I think if we're specifically going to talk about fantasy football, then I don't think there's a better fit for him than the Falcons in fantasy. So I could be down with this.
The only problem with the Falcons is that they are $30 million over the salary cap.
Okay, ouch. That hurts. You know what you basically just did? You took me to an ice cream stand and you said, look at all this ice cream. Wouldn't that be great if you could eat it? And then I said, yes, that would be great. And then you said, well, by the way, you're absolutely broke. Yeah. So you can't eat any of this ice cream, but it looks nice, right? Yeah. That's what you just did.
That's exactly what I did. And that's exactly what the Falcons are probably going to do for everyone in the free agency because they have no money to spend. This is a great scenario if the Falcons had money. I think all the guys that we've spoken about, Kenyan Drake and Aaron Jones, obviously, Chris Carson, are all great fits for the Atlanta Falcons. And they just got no money. You broke.
Yeah.
I'm broke. Get it. Okay. I can't eat. You seen that movie? Lottery Ticket? Shout out to Bow Wow.
Yes. Okay, assuming he lands in a team that's a good fit for him, we both can agree he's still a top 15 running back in fantasy.
Yes, I agree. Chris Carson
has that potential. Yes. Okay.
Top 15.
Last guy on the list, playoff Lenny Fournette Leonard, if you want to be absolutely 100% accurate.
My Super Bowl MVP.
Leonard Fournette. Your Super Bowl MVP, you called it way better than I did. I said Tyreek Hill would be the Super Bowl MVP, and my goodness, that looks silly now. However, actually, did you know that they almost cut Leonard Fournette The Bucks almost cut him
No,
midway through the season.
no,
You didn't know that?
I did not know that. Was he actually gonna be cut?
It's genuinely they were going to cut him. I think it was week 14, and apparently he sat down with Bruce Arians in the office and said, "Hey, I want more playing time." And it kind of got to the part you remember week 14 he was actually a healthy scratch, and people were like,
Right.
"What's going on?" So that's why he was a healthy scratch. And then obviously the week after, Ronald Jones got COVID, and they had to use Leonard Fournette. And eventually, because of Jones being on the COVID reserve list and because of his injury, Fournette is now playoff Lenny, had an amazing run. But it's crazy to think of what could have not happened. It so easily could have not been that way.
It could have been playoff Shady.
Yeah, Shady. And maybe they don't win a Super Bowl because Shady's probably needing to retire. But anyway, he is a free agent. Okay,
Right.
Did a lot for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to bring them to that Super Bowl. I think he was a crucial part of that team.
Yeah.
The big question again for GMs out there is how valuable is Lenny Fournette for my team? What sort of impact can he make? And I'd like to argue that Leonard Fournette might be the most enticing free agent running back for teams who are good but don't have much money, right?
Okay.
Teams like the Atlanta Falcons, like the Steelers, the Seahawks, maybe if he returns to the Bucks.
Right.
Maybe Leonard Fournette is a guy who's not going to cost as much, so he's more attractive for these teams that have really bad cap scenarios going into free agency.
Yeah. That's actually sounds amazing. I see that happening. I love Lenny going to all those teams, the Steelers, the Falcons, the Seahawks, returning back to the Bucks. I definitely see that. I believe that he could come in. He could make a difference no matter where he goes. I believe. I like Fournette.
Yeah.
You know, he is so
Same.
talented. He just ended up on the Jaguars.
He just unfortunately was drafted to the city of Jacksonville.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I think there is a lot still left in that tank, and I think he could help a team. I mean, imagine him with the Steelers last year, and he got the full workload. I think he would have done better than what they had. Obviously, the same can be said with Todd Gurley and the Atlanta
Right.
Falcons. So there is a lot of options for Leonard Fournette. He maybe has the widest array of free agent options. And that's why I think it is pretty unlikely he returns to Tampa Bay because of how many options he has.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, maybe the idea of can we repeat is on his mind, but I think there's just so many options. I'm not sure he does return to Tampa Bay.
Yeah, look, if I'm Leonard Fournette, I don't want to leave Tom Brady's side. I'll be honest with you.
I get
And
it.
I 100% agree with him. We can repeat. I believe they can
Yeah.
repeat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. If everyone in contingency, if everyone or the majority of the people do come back on offense and defense.
Yeah.
But other than that, I think my favorite fit for him out of all these teams would probably be the Steelers.
Okay.
Just
I like
because, Big Ben threw the ball a lot last year, and in the beginning of the season, James Conner was kind of doing his thing. He was running 15 times, 12 to 15 times, I think. Lenny can do that. Lenny can catch the ball too, and I think that he can go into that team. I think the Steelers are going to say, well, hey, Ben, we don't want you to throw the ball that much. Okay. We understand you're older. That elbow hurts. Here's Lenny.
Yeah.
You like Lenny, Ben?
Playoff Lenny.
Because Lenny likes you.
Hey, Ben, you like Lenny? No, I agree. I think it could be a good fit. I'm excited to see where they land. Would love to see your guys' thoughts on these 4 people we have covered on the show today. Where do you think Aaron Jones is going to go? Do you think he stays a Packer and I'm crazy? Where do you think Chris Carson, Leonard Fournette, Kenyan Drake, where is their ideal landing spot? Let us know. Obviously, you can find us on any social media platforms through one link, solo.to/fantasylandfootball. Anything you want to say to close the show off, Badaki?
I believe that Aaron Jones will go to
It seems very thought out and methodical.
No, I was gonna say something dramatic and crazy, but let's not do that. I believe Aaron Jones.
You wanted to find that clickbait.
Say that again.
We wanted to find the clickbait.
Yeah, but nah. Look, I think out of all these guys, if we had to put it in order, in my opinion, Aaron Jones, Chris Carson, Leonard Fournette, Kenyan Drake, and priority. Those are the guys that I want in order.
Okay.
I believe Aaron Jones is the most valuable running back available for free agency. Know that if you are somebody that likes Aaron Jones for fantasy, I would still be taking him no matter where he goes.
Yeah, I agree. All right. Well, we might have a part 2 to this. Depends on, how many more running backs you guys want to hear about. So let us know. But last thing I'll say is this is Badaki and I's full-time gigs. We absolutely love doing this. We are so grateful that we get to do this.
Yeah.
However, when you guys support, that gives us the ability to keep doing it. And we would love to continue to grow that community. So the easiest way, if you love what we are doing to support us, is Patreon. Patreon.com/fantasylandfam. Again, patreon.com/fantasylandfam. The easiest way to support the show. We will see you on the next podcast. See you there.
See you there.
Hey, yeah, you, the one listening to this podcast, you made a good decision today. Keep making those good decisions. You know what? Go ahead and do a little dance right now, like no one's watching. 'Cause you deserve it.